CNBC is driving me absolutely crazy. The way that they suck up to Wall Street, oh God, it's disgusting. Now, Erin Burnett is going to keep that up. Now, in the first clip, Bill Maher is going to ask the most logical question in the world. Let's see how this CNBC anchor handles it.
So let me ask this about, you work at CNBC. This is the channel that Wall Street watches all day. I think it's much more than just a channel. I think it affects what happens on Wall Street. Why didn't anybody there predict what was going to happen? Why didn't any of the sages? No. But I mean, these are people who are supposed to know. Why didn't somebody say, look, we're in a bubble and it can't last?
Well, I predicted you would ask this question. I think it's a fair question. I will say this, though. In terms of the housing bubble, I know you, along with many others, knew there was a housing bubble. Pretty much everyone in this country knew there was a housing bubble. And we had done hour-long programs on the housing bubble back in 2006, but everyone knew there was a tech bubble, too. It's easy to say a bubble, but you don't know when it's going to burst. And I think that the question of timing and magnitude, nobody got. That wasn't just a CNBC pundit thing. That was any expert out there. I mean, I remember Own It Financial was the first subprime lender to go under in December of 2006. And we led our show with it that day. And then we did an ostriches in the sand video a month later and said, people are missing in. And someone came on and said, we're going to see a major subprime lender go under. And that was as it started to build. Nobody had any idea. And even the people who called Armageddon would never have thought that when it burst, we had a 30% plunge in demand for General Motors in one day.
All right, so that's Erin Condoleezza Rice Burnett. Nobody could have seen it coming. Now, wait a minute. Isn't it your job as the business network to figure out, maybe every once in a while do an investigative journalism piece and say, hey, how bad is this subprime market? First of all, you're not even talking about the subprime market. You're talking about a housing bubble in general starting in 2006, which everybody knew about. See, if you knew about that housing bubble, didn't you want to say, hey, wait a minute, I wonder how bad it is, how it got to be a bubble, when will it burst, covering any of those stories? But you see, if you did that, then you couldn't suck the ass of the corporations then. Because you'd have to say, hey, look, this corporation is doing subprime lending to the degree that it doesn't make sense. And here are the mortgages they've given out, which are not logical. It cannot, in the long run, be sustainable. But more importantly, much more importantly, here are the derivatives markets. And here's how they work. And here's why, if the housing bubble bursts, the derivatives markets will absolutely collapse, causing a financial collapse. Did you ever do any reporting along those lines? No, no one could have seen it coming. Because if you talked about those derivatives, everybody on Wall Street would have been pissed, because everybody on Wall Street was neck deep in derivatives. So then they would have been like, hey, wait a minute, cut off CNBC's access. They're not being good suck-asses today, okay? Well, then no more releasing our news reports to them. What difference does it make, man? All the news reports get released at the same time. You can't have it by law. You can't have insider information. Oh, so you got a scoop. You got it 12 seconds before Bloomberg. Do your job, man. These guys pretend they know the market. They don't know anything. All they know is how to suck up to the corporations. So the only problem with Erin Burnett is how goddamn good looking she is. It's distracting. All right, but I'm not going to get distracted by it. And in clip number 2, she's going to, again, talk about how we're trying to soak the rich. Burnett, please, let's watch.
Behaving the way they did when FDR came into office during that depression.
He did, though, put through a soak the rich tax, which would hardly be a moniker that would create, people working together. I mean, I think what's interesting to your point...
Why shouldn't we soak the rich? They're the ones who did incredibly well. They're the ones who sucked all this money out of the system in the last decade. They're the ones who do get most of this blame. It is Wall Street that's responsible for this. And what I see now, Wall Street, they don't want to hear all this soak the rich. They want to make it about a war on the rich. They want to put the blame on the government, especially this one that's been in office for 45 days.
Right. I think you raise a very good point in that they want to call it a war on wealth. And that's wrong. And that sort of dichotomy, and it's being done on cable. You take a left and you take a right and fight it. That's negative and that's not right. But I will say this. It wasn't just Wall Street. Wall Street was a big part of the problem, but it was everybody. It was an attitude of give me what I want now, and I don't have to pay for it. And that went through all of society. And it's become now that it's unacceptable to say that we always have to find just a few people to blame. And that's not accurate.
The difference is that, yes, the average American person who took this, who couldn't afford a mortgage and took it, he bears some responsibility. But he's not an expert in finance.
Yeah, whereas your Wall Street butt buddies are. I mean, Erin Burnett and the rest of the CNBC anchors, apparently they got the memo, and maybe it is part of their job description, but they have gotten the memo that their job description is protect the rich at all costs. Oh, and look at this, soaking the rich. We can't all work together if you actually want to take any money ever from the rich. No. If you want us to work together, you keep bowing your heads and let us keep taking your money. Because the rich they're not done just taking the money off of Wall Street. Now they're taking taxpayer money. But if you dare question it, oh, it's class warfare. We can't work with you like this, okay? Well, good. Well, I don't need to work with you, okay? Now, you want to talk about class? You want to start a class? Look, the more these guys talk, the more I want to start an actual class war, okay? Because we don't, right now, the poor and the middle class are getting our asses handed to us by the war that the rich have started. Now, I'm not in favor of war on the rich because that's absurd. How are they rich? It depends. What market are they in? What business are they in? How did they get rich? I want to be rich one day. We all want to be rich one day. But the more that they press on that open wound, the more it pisses me off and makes me want to put the... You want to get war drugs? No, that's not it.
That's all we know.
I don't know. It's somewhere in here, but I want to do the war drugs. All right. All right. I'm going to try to calm down and watch clip number 3. And I'm glad Bill Maher said what he said because he's exactly right. Okay. Erin Burnett wants to deflect blame from the people who caused 99% of this problem on Wall Street to the average person, saying, oh, yeah, well, it wasn't just our fault, please. Some of you took loans you couldn't afford. And then afterwards, by the way, when you take a loan you can't afford, you know what Wall Street does to you? They crush you. They crush you into smithereens. And then but if you ever speak out, class warfare. Class warfare.